Today I'm here to talk about risk because I think it's a large component into the, I guess, the gateway into each individual's personal potential. And I believe that the greatest pain in life, in my opinion, is the pain of untapped potential, in knowing that have you have this feeling of more, that you're meant for more, and you know you can do more, but yet you still sit there in that comfortable bed of yours every single day, going to that 9 to 5, eating the same food, having the comfort of, whoever's supporting you or whatever's happening, and you're just cool with that. But you know deep down every single night and whenever you wake up that there is a better version of you somewhere. Somewhere inside of you, you know there's a better version of you. Every single time. I know it. And, I've heard this analogy before is, when you die and you're there at the judgment table and, God is saying that this could have been you, this could have been you, this could have been you, this could have been you. And you decided not to take advantage of those versions of you because you were too scared to take risks in your life. How sad would that be? Okay, how sad would it be if you died today, or you were about to die, I guess not dead. How sad would it be if you were about to die and someone asked you, hey, how was your life? And your answer to that was, it was okay. It was just a life. How sad would that be to not be able to tell them the ups and downs, the frustrating times when you were down bad and you had to go through those trials and tribulations to get to where you were today, and to be able to support your family and all those great, excellent, I guess, goals that you had reached because you had pushed through all those sacrifices and taken all those risks within your life. And that is why, the same thing with our lives, the same thing with books. We don't read books or watch movies that don't have trials and tribulations in them, because why? How boring would that be? How boring of a life would it be if you never took risks within your life and put yourself through trials and tribulations in order to get to where you needed to be, which is your true potential, which a lot of you gate and keep cooped up with inside of yourself because you're just scared to take risks. If you were building a person, if you yourself were building a person today, what would you put them through? What would you put them through? If you were to build a successful person today, what would you put them through? You think you would just put them through a comforting life where they constantly had everything given to them and they were nurtured and 24/7, were, just comfortable? No, you would probably put them through some of the worst pains ever, because you understand, I know you understand, that's what it takes to be great. That is what it takes to be great. It is not comfort that makes you great. It is the risks and sacrifices and pain and suffering that you go through in order to be great, in order to reach your true potential. And it's funny, when you're starting to work towards something, for example, like whenever you start your goal, all your friends and stuff will say, why are you working so hard? And then once you win, those same people will say and remind you of how lucky you actually are. Listen to that again. When you start working hard and you're about to win, they will say, why are you working so hard? And then once you actually win and you accomplish that goal, everybody else says, hey, you remember, you're so lucky. That is because you're reminding them of the person that they could be, the things that they're not being, or the things that they're not doing in their day-to-day life, because you are taking the steps, you're taking the risks, you're taking the sacrifices needed in order to get to that goal or get to that potential that is inside of you, that you have that feeling, you have those visions within your mind that I can be more, and you're actually implementing those things and they're not. And that's what happens when you're reminding people of the things exactly of what they're not. So then they start bringing you down with it. They remind you of how lucky you are. And that is my favorite word ever, is luck. Because what is lucky? I don't believe in luck. I believe it comes from hard work and discipline meeting opportunity, and that's luck. Because you were ready because of all those nights and mornings that you got up and did the things that you needed to do, regardless of the pain and suffering it caused you, or whether you want to do it or not. And the opportunity met that, so you were prepared for that one single moment. That is not luck. I'm telling you, that is not luck. That is because you put in the work in order to do that. Now, I think a lot of people struggle with the scare tactic of what risk really is, but the thing that you're not willing to sacrifice, the thing that you're not willing to risk for, is the same thing that is keeping you exactly from where you're meant to be. Think about that. You know exactly what risks and sacrifices you need to take in order to get there, but you aren't willing to do that because you're scared of what, of how good it feels, or because all your friends do it, or whatever. Like, that's the exact thing that keeps you from exactly where you're meant to be. And people will cheer you on and support you until you're doing better than them. So if those friends and things, once you decide to take that risk and take that sacrifice, are, saying you're lucky or putting you down for just trying, don't think it's because you're doing the wrong thing. I'm telling you, the risks and sacrifices are necessary in order to get there, and they darn know it too, but they aren't willing to take them because you are just reminding them of what they're not willing to do in order to get to their goals and dreams. Now, the price, and that comes also as well, it's like being misunderstood is also a thing that comes with risk, because people don't understand that you give up this life or these tangible things that actually don't matter, that these people have been so accustomed with. And once you start doing that, the price of becoming, more, and I guess the price of becoming better is being misunderstood, because people are committed to less. The price of becoming better is being misunderstood, because people are accustomed to being less. If your growth makes people uncomfortable, if the risks and sacrifices you're willing to take and you are taking day in and day out are making people uncomfortable, I'm telling you, that's exactly the right thing for you to be doing. That is when you know you're doing it right. It's when you're actually taking the steps in order to get there. And that's what makes people uncomfortable. Now, I'm telling you, uncomfortability is what a lot of you guys are scared of, because you're so comfortable, which then in return keeps you from taking risks necessary, like I said, which then in return keeps you from your goals, because those the same exact risks and sacrifices are either what keeps you from your dreams and goals, or what your competitors are doing, and that's why they're beating you day in and day out in your exact niche. I'm telling you, that is exactly what's happening. So you ask yourself, why am I not getting there? But what is the one risk you're not willing to take? Why is it that you're allowing yourself to be tied down by these short-term dopamine hitting things that have got you on a hook, because either you can't get rid of it or all your friends are doing it, and that is ruining all your future dreams and goals and all that potential that you know darn well that you have, just because you won't give it up? You're telling me this one life that you have, all your goals and dreams and potential that you possibly could become, is totally ruined because of either you can't get rid of or risk or sacrifice one thing, or what everybody else in your friend group is doing because of them and yourself, that you're going to completely throw away a version of you that could be great. That is all it takes. It doesn't take just some insane thing. Like, you're not born successful. It's born within the work within you and the sacrifices you're willing to take. That is where success is born. Success is born in the work and sacrifices and risks that you're willing to take day in and day out. It is not born naturally. So you not taking risks and sacrifices is completely ruining and closing off a whole version of you that could be great. And you know you have it within you. It's scary. I mean, it is scary, and I get it. I'm not saying that I have that too. I struggle with risking, a lot of things, and I'm making a decision right now that, I'm not telling everybody, but it's a really big risk for me, because it's the first time I've ever done this, and it's going to make me uncomfortable, because it's going to force me in so many different avenues of my life to be uncomfortable, and I think that's necessary for what I'm trying to do within my life, which is become a better person. The only growth that comes out of your life is when you're uncomfortable. So explain to me all that pain and stuff that you went through. You're telling me that if you never went through it, you would be happier? All that stuff that you risked and sacrificed and had gone through, and it never happened, you're telling me it actually would have made you a better person? Highly doubt it. It made you who you are today. So imagine if you put yourself through way more of that. I'm not saying to like put yourself through physical like pain constantly. Obviously there's like the gym and stuff, but like, you know, there's a difference obviously, but like putting yourself in uncomfortable, taking the risk, taking the sacrifices needed, cutting things out of your life, bringing things into your life, learning new skills, those are all things needed in order to grow. But a lot of people are just scared of that fact, and that is what's hindering you from taking the next step. And a lot of you ask yourself, why am I still here? And then you're not willing to, you know, move from an old you. I would say it's an old version of you to a new version of you, which you know you need to be in order to attain the thing that you need to have. You know, and like I said last time, in order for you to get the thing that you want, you have to first become the person in order to get the thing. The only way you're gonna be able to get the thing or become the person that you need to be to have it is by taking risks and sacrifices that you aren't willing to make, and that is the reason why you don't have it. That is it. That is the only reason that all your competitors are beating you and you don't have that exact thing that you're asking for. I mean, I'm not sitting here telling you that like everything needs to be uncomfortable. Obviously not. But I am saying that a lot of you guys question why you don't have this thing, or you feel bad, or you have like a lot of you guys feel stuck. I know that's a thing. A lot of you guys feel stuck. I feel stuck, and that's why making this big risk here in the next couple months is I feel stuck. Actually, not a couple months, it's literally a month, but I feel stuck. And I'm telling you, it's your body telling you it needs to take the next step, and the next step is by taking risks. What is the worst that's going to happen? Like I said, what is the worst that's going to happen? Nothing. By taking a risk, what is the actual worst thing that is going to happen to you? The only risk that's going to happen to you is the what if you don't, is the what if. So, like, I know you have a dream, I know you have a goal that you're wanting to attain, whether it be a absolutely pristine student, a very high performing expert within your niche in the career or in the career field, or an entrepreneur, you know, a social media influencer, a high-end gamer, whatever it is. Think of the one thing that you need to do that you're not doing, and think of the thing that also needs to be dropped out in order to start doing the thing you need to do. And that's the exact thing you need to do, which is scary and uncomfortable. But I'm telling you, when you're comfortable and you're not willing to take risks, that is when you're never going to grow. That's it. Now I want you to hear this. I want you to hear this, like, for real. If you are not willing to increase the sacrifice, decrease the goals. If you are not willing to increase the sacrifice, decrease your goals, because whatever you're not willing to sacrifice are the things that you need to have or to not have in order to attain the goals that you need to have. So just think about that. Think about where you could possibly be in about 5 years down the line. If you started taking risks, to move out of your hometown, talk to new people, start a new, you know, cool little hobby that you think would be corny, but it doesn't really matter because whoever's mocking you for trying is someone you don't need in your life anyway. So if you're scared of the people that are surrounding you, of judging you, you probably don't need them anyway, and that's that's literally the world telling you you don't need them. But yeah, start it. Take a risk, man. What's the worst that's going to happen? It's like literally nothing. You're just going to be like everyone else. And obviously, if you're willing to take a risk, you don't want to be like everybody else. You want something more with your life. So like there's no downside to just trying. And I'm telling you, when you have an aspiration and a goal that is to become better in some type of way or form, and the thing that needs to happen is cutting off, sacrificing things out of your life. What are you actually sacrificing out of your life? They're probably not good things. So by doing those, you're actually becoming a better person on your way there, which then brings in the character development needed to have in order to attain the thing that you want in the first place. And it may not actually end up being the dream or goal that you're actually pursuing right now, but I'm telling you, the world works in crazy ways. That character development, in order to start working towards that, is actually just an avenue to be the person you need to be for the next dream or the thing you're supposed to become. So regardless of what you risk for, I'm telling you, it will teach you lessons that nothing else will teach you in comfortability. Nothing. So like I said, if you were to build a person today and you want them to be successful, what would you do with that person? You could even want them to be the thing that you want to be right now. What would you do to them? What would you be having them do day in and day out in order to get there? That should tell you exactly what you need to be doing, because you know exactly what it is that you need to be taking risks at. And people will, I'm just going to run back to this subject because it's like the thing that I feel like holds most people back. At least it held me back for so long. Obviously I'm doing this now, and I was so scared of people thinking I was corny, but at the same time, now that I'm hearing myself, it's like if I were to have those people in my life, then I should probably not have those people in my life, because I'm just trying. I'm taking a risk. I'm freaking trying. So most people, they'll support your dream as long as it stays as a dream. So I'm telling you, as soon as you start getting out of that dream phase and they start seeing reality happen, and then they start bringing you down because you're trying and they say it's luck, those are the exact people you do not need in your life. So becoming better in that aspect actually shows you who needs to be in your life to then create that community that is needed in order to push you towards the potential you actually have within you that you're supposed to be within this life. So regardless of what you do and what you take risks on, it's going to show you in some avenue a benefit, a positive. The only thing it'll show you is the negative side of things that you don't need in your life. So, yeah, a lot of the things that's holding you back from your potential is taking risks. And try one risk a day. Try one. Just give one. Or take a really big one. I recommend that one. I'm trying to do that one as well. But take a big one. Take a really big risk. Like I said, nothing bad comes out of taking risks except for it showing the negative things that are in your life. So, and it is so easy. It is so easy to be great nowadays because no one's willing to risk and sacrifice the current short-term benefits of their life in order for the long-term dreams and goals that they have, that you are wanting to have. That's how you know when you're going to be great, because you can do the things that people are not willing to do, which is risk and sacrifice everything. That is the difference between you and the average human being, is that you are willing to risk and sacrifice whatever it takes in order to get there. And that's when you know you'll be great. And I don't know how many people are going to see this. I'm sure a ton will see it on social medias because it'll be short clipped up. But if you've gotten this far, I just hope it helps one person change or try something new and cool that they probably never would have tried. So I'm going to say it one more time, because I think this is probably the biggest thing that helped me in my life, is if you were to build a person today, what would you put them through? And what were the things that you would have them be doing in their life constantly in order to attain the goal? Build the person that you want. Build a person that you want and the thing that you want to achieve, and ask yourself, what would you put them through, and what risks would you have them take, and what sacrifices would you have them take in order to get there? And that's the same exact thing that you need in your life, and the things that you need to do in order to be great within that thing. And those are the things keeping you from that thing, or the things that you aren't willing to do. So I hope you got something from this, because I think the biggest thing and the biggest pain within our lives is untapped potential is the willingness to take risk and sacrifice. So thank you for being here, and I hope to chip at one person a day. And I'll see you guys in the next one, and that'll be next week. So peace.